Hey guys, Kristen Fagan here for a new episode of Free Spirit Beading on the Softlex Company YouTube channel. Great to see you today. Hi Lydia. So we are gonna get jiggy with it today. We are gonna play with our new wire jig and make some earrings. Really simple earrings. Jig is fairly new to me, so I've only used one a handful of times. So I thought we would start with something real beginner, and I think it'll be really cute. So I'm excited for what we're gonna do today. Hi Susie. How's everyone today? So today is August 26th, and I always like to start off by letting you guys know what sales we have going on this week. Our sales run until Tuesday night at midnight. So we've got two deals going on right now. We've got a buy one, get one free with our new WigJig Delphi wire jig that we'll be using today. So you would buy a WigJig Delphi wire jig and you will get 20 gauge craft wire, your color choice of the regular colors for free. So if you go on our website and you look in craft wire, you'll notice that we have 20 gauge. We have one section called 20 gauge craft wire and one section called 20 gauge craft wire silver plated. So it would be the regular craft wire colors, which would be like copper, black, red, vintage bronze is in there, bare copper and non-tarnished copper, bronze. All of those colors would be in the regular 20 gauge. So you buy a WigJig Delphi wire jig, and then you get to just add one of those colors from the 20 gauge section to your cart, and it will show up as $0. Just under 100 here in Mesa, I know, and that makes it for a really nice cool day, doesn't it, Lydia? It's kind of overcast today. I'm getting my jiggy on. I'm getting my jiggy on. Hi, Sheila, how are you? Another sunny, hot day for Susie. I know, sometimes the summers, you know, they just, every day is kind of the same. Know what to expect. So in addition to our BOGO, we also have 20% off of all of our Softlex craft wire. So if you do want to get some of the silver plated colors, or you want to get any other gauge other than 20 gauge, we are offering 20% off on the entire category. Hi, Pamela. Yeah, Sherry's just gotta get the jiggy, getting jiggy with it. Na 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 na. Hey Emily. So those are our two deals going on right now, and like I said, they go on until tomorrow night, August 27th at midnight is when those deals end. We have any order over $50 will have the option for free shipping within the United States. And I always like to tell our international customers we do have some shipping discounts for you guys. So you can contact us at info, I-N-F-O, at softflexcompany.com to inquire more about that. Emily got Seed Bead Revolution for her birthday. Yay! Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to read it, and I really hope you have a lot of fun working through the projects in that book. There's such a neat variety. Did you get it in the mail yet, or you just have it on order waiting for it to come? I have to pull it out. I haven't looked at it in a little while and refresh and get inspired all over again. So a couple of new items we have online. Oh, you have it already. Wonderful. So a couple new things we have online, of course, is the jig we're going to be working with today. And in addition to the jig, we also have some what they're called is super pegs. Like these little round little pegs are an add-on to your jig, and I'll show you guys how you can utilize those a bit today as well. And we have a WigJig wire project booklet that we loaded online too. So if you want to get some patterns and some ideas and have like a tangible booklet, that's now available for you on the website too. So three new Jiggy project products. And then we also have our Unicorn Sparkles design kit. We are down to our last 8. We only have 8 left, and the reveal video is this week. So excited about that. All right, let's get going. I'll turn you guys down to my beading table and we'll go over some tools and get started. I should mention too, if you're new to craft wire and you don't have some of these tools, we do have a craft wire starter kit where you would get a handful of the stuff I'm talking about today. Hi, Jeanette. Sherry says, love the necklace you have on. Thank you, Sherry. It's kind of a soft flex, bubbly sculptural necklace, and I did a video called Purple Rain that used the same kind of technique, and that's here on our YouTube channel. If you want to take a look a little bit later, you can get a closer look on that. So what we'll be using today is, of course, I have a pair of my nylon jaw pliers. You can get this in that craft wire starter kit. I'm going to be using a pair of round nose, and I have a pair of chain nose and flat nose that I'll also be just basically for opening and closing jump rings. I believe all 3, or if not, at least these 2, the chain nose and the round nose, are in the craft wire starter kit. You get a spool of craft wire. You also get a pair of cutters. I'm just using my flush cutters today, but you would get a pair of bead nippers in that kit. So if you don't have any of these tools, that's kind of a nice way to do it. So we've got cutters, we've got our pliers, we've got our chain nose pliers. I'm going to be working with 20 gauge craft wire today. This is the non-tarnished silver plated. I also have the bronze and the black. And just to show you guys a couple more fun colors in 20 gauge, these would all be everything except for the silver plated silver would not be included, but all of these colors would be included in the BOGO. So you've got black, bronze, vintage bronze, purple, bare copper, and then there's also a non-tarnish copper and a few other colors. But that's just what I had in my stash here. I've got these sweet little charms. If you guys remember, we used our Vintaj patina paints was that last week? I think that was last week, to decorate these charms. They were just all silver and all gold, and we used that Vintaj patina paint to add some color to these sweet little bees and this dragonfly. So I'm gonna use those. Here is the star, the WigJig Delphi jig that we'll be using today. When you get this jig, you will get 10 of these little pegs that go in it. I'm using 7 of them for this project. So you'll have 10 total. And then we've got these WigJig super pegs. And lastly, I'm going to be using the wire whacker to work hard in the designs. You can use this with or without a hammer. What's nice about the wire whacker is if you do only have a metal chasing hammer that does not have a nylon coating on it, you can put your design between these two panels and then use your hammer to hammer down on it. Or if you have a nylon jaw planer hammer, you could just use this on a rubber block to work hard in. And I shouldn't have said lastly, because I do have one more tool. This is called a burr cup, and we are going to use this to file off the ends of our ear wires. So this is an optional tool if you wanted to make your own ear wires with the jig. You'd want to pick up this, and I'll show you guys how to use that. Okay, so here is my little example design. So since we were doing little bees, I wanted to play up the hexagon shape. And so I played around with the black wire first, and I used a black jump ring, and I made my own ear wire with the black wire. Softlex craft wire, the black color, has an enamel coating on it, as do all of our colors except for bare copper. And so they are hypoallergenic, so you can use them to make ear wires. The only place where you'll have a little metal showing is right at the tip here, that you'll have a little bit of the copper, so that's just something to be aware of, but the rest of the wire is all hypoallergenic. Pamela is asking, does Softlex also sell the nylon hammer? We used to, Pamela. We do not carry it at the moment, but this was the hammer that we used to carry. And I don't believe we have them anymore. Maybe Damien, you could take a look online and just check the tool section for me to be sure, but I have a feeling that that we had sold out of them, and I don't believe we ordered any more in. I'm gonna show you a little before and after because my friend James helped me out a little bit. This was the first honeycomb shape I made with the pegs, and James gave me a little tip on how to make my edges a little harder. So we are gonna make this one on the jig today, and I'll share with you that tip on how you'll see the difference. My first one is the edges are all just a little bit softer. It still works, but this one really kind of pulls in that honeycomb shape a little bit more. So thank you, James. We no longer have the hammer. Yeah, I had a feeling that it was gone. So what's really nice about this, and I should show you, let me get a pencil. When I was first playing with the idea of the honeycomb shape, yeah, that was my prototype. And I will say it's a prototype that, this was the best prototype. I did do it a few times to get it to be there. But what's really nice about the acrylic jig is, like, when I first was playing around with the idea of a honeycomb shape, you can go ahead and just draw it out on a piece of paper and then stick it behind your jig and line up your pegs for what you want to create. I think that's a pretty neat option for this kind of a jig. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so I'm gonna cut a little bit of the non-tarnished silver. Since my bee was a silver charm, I'm just gonna pull out about that much, and I'm gonna use the nylon jaw pliers to straighten that wire out for me. And let me give this closer so you guys can see my setup. So I actually am going to do it this way because I like the idea of having a point at the bottom for my charm to hang. So we are going to start on this one, and I'll explain to you guys why. But so if we start over here, I can wrap around this first peg and then go all the way around and then come back to this first peg and wrap around it the other way. And then I ensure that my little loops going around this peg are closer in size than if I was to do it by hand. Pamela, I'm using 20 gauge craft wire. So this is the setup. We've got this little guy off to the edge. He's gonna be kind of our anchor. And then we've got our shape here. I'm going to start, they can be called lead-ons. Okay. I'm gonna start by making a little loop with my round nose pliers, just like that. And this is just to hook on. Let me make sure, yeah, it looks like I have enough wire. That's just to hook on to my, let's see if I can get a little bit closer. I'm just gonna mess with my tripod because I feel like I should be able to get a little bit closer for this project today. That's better. Okay, I think that's better. So one tip when you're using this jig is you want to move the jig around, not your wire. Because if you're trying to move your wire, it's going to be a little more frustrating. It's a little easier to actually move the jig itself. So we are going to come inside of this peg and I'm going to wrap around that first one, make a nice complete loop. I actually think I went on the outside, so let me start that on the outside instead. Now that I've done it a bunch of times, I switched and went on the inside. And this is where your nylon jaw plier is really awesome because it will just help me straighten that wire back out again. And let's take it around the outside of this peg. And I'm going to twist the jig, holding the wire. There we go. Creating that first loop. Now I'm going to go to my next peg, and this is where James helped me out. So when I go to my next peg, I'm actually going to take my wire slightly past, see how I went slightly on the inside of this one over here? And that will make my edge there a little bit straighter. So I'll do the same thing here. So I'm going to go to the next peg, but I'm going to pull it slightly in, and then I'm going to go back out. And I did not cut myself enough wire. This is why I should measure things. Well, here is just our practice run. So look at how close I was. So here's our practice run. I'll take that off. I'll put this peg back here again. Yes, she says scoring your corners. That's the word I'm looking for, is you would be scoring your corners. So now let me take a lot more wire so that I don't run out. I'm not very good at measuring things. How about you guys? I tend to just wing it, but then stuff like that happens. Okay, so we went ahead and made our first loop again, and then I'm going to slide it onto my little anchor one. And now I have a lot of wire. Liz wings it. She's from Bead Snoops wings it. Yeah, I totally just wing it. All right, so now we're gonna start fresh. That was just our little example to get going. So I'm gonna go around the outside of this top peg, and holding my wire, I'm just gonna twist my jig all the way around to get my first loop. Now I'm gonna go to the next peg, and then I'm gonna come down to the peg after it, and I'm just gonna go on the inside and then come back out. And that will help score my wire and make it a little tougher. Susie wings it too. All right, we're all in the same camp. So I'm gonna do that for the next one. Just gonna go in to score it and then come back around. Pop it in, come back around. There we go. And now that I am back to my first peg, I am going to wrap all the way around it again. And now I have plenty of wire to play with. Just take my shape off of the jig. And it's gonna come out a little three-dimensional like that. So it's gonna be a little bit wonky. But that is okay. We are gonna fiddle with it and flatten it out. Hi, James. I was just sharing with them my little scoring tip you showed me. Thank you for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut off the excess wire of these tails here with my flush cutters. I'm doing the flat side all the way up. I'll show you what it looks like there. So I'm only left with my loop. See that? And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Taking the flat side up towards the wire there. Snip it. And now I'm just left, still three-dimensional, but I'm just left with these little loops. Yeah, it was a very good tip, James. I really appreciated that today. So now you can start by, I'm just gonna kind of slowly, I'm working on my patience with working with craft wire. I'm just gonna kind of wiggle them so they get closer to the same. You can even use your nylon jaw pliers to kind of flatten these little loops out a bit more. And I'm also gonna take my round nose pliers and come in here and just make sure my loops are closed. So I'm just coming in there. And now I'm gonna kinda just slightly fiddle back and forth till they start to line up a bit more. I don't want to do anything too dramatic and get my wire to come out of shape. So there we go, that's better. So now I'm going to take out my wire whacker and place my design on here, and what this does is it work hardens the wire. What that means is it compresses the wire down and makes it sturdier. And you can use this tool two different ways, and this might make my table shake a little bit, but you can take it and just whack it down. She says work hardening the wire takes the bounce out of it. That's exactly right. It just makes it a little stiffer, so it's not as easy to pry open. I believe it changes like the molecular composition of the wire a little bit. What's nice about this tool is it's all nylon. It's just 2 nylon blocks. And when you're working with craft wire, especially color craft wire, you really need to be working with a nylon piece because you don't want to scratch up the color and enamel coating. James says it lines up the molecules due to the heat. Very interesting. So that's one way to do it. If you have a hammer, and that makes it a stronger structure, you can place your piece in between and then hammer down. Like I said, if you're using an all metal hammer, this would be a way for you to work hard in your piece and protect it at the same time because you have it wedged in between the nylon. All right, so now I want to turn these up on their side. I just didn't want to do that before I work harden it because it would have kind of affected the shape that my, this is nice and flat like this. So I'm going to take a pair of chain nose pliers. Chain nose pliers have a flat edge and they have a little bit of a taper. You could use the metal hammer and texturize your honeycomb. You totally could. Although I do feel like if you texturize a color, you're gonna get it to flake off, but in those areas where the metal hits. But it could create a really interesting look all the same. So I wouldn't be against giving that a try, actually. So I'm gonna grab a hold of my loops and I'm gonna turn them this way. See what I did? I went from being on the side to straight up and down. I'm gonna do that with this one too. On the other side, hopefully not bending my wire too much. And then if you do bend it a little too much, you can use your nylon jaw pliers to come back and straighten it out. Once again, I want them to kind of line up, so I'm just gonna fiddle with that one so that they're closer to lining up. And now I'm gonna take my chain nose pliers and I'm gonna pop each of these little loops. Let me do this one first. I'm gonna grab it right where the loop ends and I'm just gonna pop it up. like that. So I've got one on that side and one on that side. Hi, Kathy. And now my honeycomb shape is ready to be put into an earring. So what I do next is I'm gonna grab a jump ring. Couldn't you have just rotated your loops? Meaning, maybe I could have, James, I don't know. This was how my mind worked. Without going flat first, you mean? Just pop them up? So now I'm just gonna add a jump ring. Maybe I could have. Maybe there's a step I could have not taken and just popped them up. So I've got a jump ring at the top, and that's what I'm gonna attach my ear wire to. Hi, Melanie. Thanks for joining us. And then I've got a jump ring on my little bee. So just taking my 2 pliers, I'm gonna twist open my jump ring, add the bee at the bottom. Sometimes I create extra work for myself. So maybe I created an extra step there. And now you can add your ear wire. So I have let's go and see what I've got here. So you can either add your ear wire or we can make an ear wire. I'll show you how to make an ear wire with one of the other colors. Because making your own ear wire is nice when you're using a color that you may not have on hand in an actual ear wire. So I'm just gonna take my chain nose plier and I'm just gonna open up that ear wire, slide on the jump ring, and there you have it. Sweet little honeycomb bee earring. So that is in, sorry I keep putting it a little high because I moved my tripod down. I'm kind of in a new spot. Let me move that down. I'm so glad you got to see me live today. So here is the other one I did in black, and in this one I did make the ear wire because I wanted it to match. So let's do that. It's always nice when you can join us live and chit chat. So I'm going to take off a bunch of these pegs. To make ear wires, you could use one, I really just use one peg. Aren't they cute? Those little bees we made last week are what inspired it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. I'll show you how to make an ear wire with the black. So you don't need a lot of wire for the ear wires. And this is where our super pegs come in. So this little kit comes with 3 different sizes of these round super pegs. I'll start with the smallest one. And basically you just set up your peg right next to your round super peg. So you've got one peg there, that's where your little loop is gonna go, and then we're gonna go around the super peg. So grabbing your round nose pliers, you are going to make a little loop. I like for my loop to be facing this way, so like a lowercase d going onto the peg. Hopefully I made it. There we go. And then you're just gonna wrap it around the super peg, just like that. I mean, this is so super simple. And then you can play with your shape from here. You might decide you want, I'm gonna cut it and I'm gonna make sure my flat side is facing the ear wire, because I wanna give it a nice clean cut. This side is gonna give you a clean cut, and this side is gonna give you an angle cut. So you could totally leave it just like that. Or you can take your chain nose pliers and you can kind of come down to the bottom and bump it out just a little, just like that. Or you can decide you want it to be shorter. You know, if you want it to be more in line, you could just cut it shorter and then bump it out down here. And you have an ear wire in that shape. And then to file this down here, you use this tool called a burr cup. And you're gonna wanna work hard in this too. So you would want to, at this point, put this in the wire whacker and whack it down, or hammer it. No, just a personal preference, James. Some people like if you have a really long, if you've got the short here and then it comes down really long and straight, just gives it like a very modern look. Although I feel like even short, it's a pretty modern look because the loop is so large. It's kind of gives it a very elegant feeling. So you just take this burr cup and you roll it around. You want to get it on like both sides. And what this does is it files it down. You can also use a filing tool if you've got one of those, but these are really nice specifically just for the little ends of ear wires. Super easy. So that is using the smallest one from the super peg set. And then if you wanted to use the larger one, you can make other sort of cage shapes for yourself like this. So I did this one very similar to the honeycomb, where I popped those little loops up, and this round part was done with the large super peg. And I did this with the bronze color, and then made my own ear wire to go on the end of that one too, since I wanted to kind of keep it all in that bronzy color. So I'll show you guys real fast. I think this bronze color is pretty. Is you would just do the same thing. I am having fun with my new toy. You do the same thing. You make yourself a little loop. Place it on this peg here. And then we're just gonna turn our jig, wrap it all the way around. And then you can even come back to where you started there. Trim off your wire and then create your second loop on this side. And you've got a really neat little component that I think lends itself really well to just be attached to a necklace and have some charms or something hang down. Or you can wiggle it closer like this and attach your ear wire there and let your charm hang down. Or James, now if I were to just, instead of flattening it, just go this way. That's what you meant, I think, on the other one. And then you've got more of that shape. Yeah, so for some reason I added in another step that didn't really need to be there. And then you can even bring it around, like if it kind of bumped out of shape a little bit, come back, bring it around your little super peg again. And get it back into shape. So many options. I can see this being wrapped all the way around it. That would be really fun too. And that was how I did this guy here. Just add your jump ring, add your ear wire, and your charm at the bottom. And you are all set. These are just too cute though. I love the little honeycomb shape. It's something totally different and works so well with this little bee. So sweet. All right, so that was our quick tutorial today. I hope I gave you guys a nice overview of our new jig. So this one's called the WigJig Delphi, and it's really stinking cute. I mean, look at how little this is. You can easily throw this into like your little beading bag and take this on the go. And I totally think the add-on of the super pegs is completely worth it, because as we all know, I think circular shapes are tough to get just right, and it's really nice to have something to work with that's stable and will give you the same size every time. You can even load something up like this and bring your wire in and out. Just so many possibilities for making little components and wire pieces on your own. Let me switch you guys back up. Sherry, I'm glad you enjoyed the tips today. Oh, that's right, I'm in a different, my tripod's in a different configuration because I got a little bit closer. So now my head's kind of here. Let's see if I can move my chair up. a little bit better. So just some reminders for this week. We have the design challenge with our mystery guest on Wednesday, and that is at a new time. That is at 2 p.m. Pacific time instead of our usual 1 p.m. because it just worked better for our mystery guest. So that's what we're going with. So I'm excited for you guys to see who it is and what they create. I know it's going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous design. We still had about 8 of those kits left. That's the Unicorn Sparkles kit that will be opening on Wednesday. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, there's a couple more left for you. If you do have the kit, please join our VIB Studio Facebook group and share your designs over there with us. We want to see them. We want to see all types of designs and see what everyone created with that Unicorn Sparkles kit. You can start sharing those designs as of Wednesday after 2 p.m. Pacific time, after we do our reveal. And then you'll have a few weeks to create stuff and share with us and be entered into our next giveaway. Not until the 28th, yes. So not until Wednesday the 28th at 2 p.m. after we do our reveal, then you can start sharing your designs that you made with the Unicorn Sparkles kit. It's always so much fun to see the page get just flooded with all sorts of different things and see how your minds work and create all different kinds of projects. So we have the new kit coming out on Wednesday as well, so stay tuned for that. That'll be the September kit. We'll launch right at the same time as the reveal video. Can't wait, right? If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. It helps other people find our videos. It helps us to keep showing up here regularly and give you guys great content. Hope you had a lot of fun today. I know I did. I'm excited about my new jig and all the possibilities that that jig is gonna have for me in my designing, my little designing corner. Something new to play with. And if you're not on our email list, you can go to softflexcompany.com. You can get all the products we talked about today there, and we always have our sales right on the homepage. Join our email list. You'll get inspiration on the regular, as well as updates of the videos we have going on and sales that we've got going on, as well as new products and stuff too. So thank you guys again for being here with me today. I'm so glad you were able to join me live. It's always much more fun to talk to you guys here in person while I'm doing the video. So I appreciate you making the time, and I hope you guys pick up the jig and get jiggy with it. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. I will. I'm like totally, I gotta sit here and finish all my little projects I started now. Get my jiggy on. I wanted to play the song in the background, but I knew YouTube would probably not be happy with me doing that. So I'll just have to get jiggy with it. Thanks, Gloria. I'll catch you later. All right, talk to you guys later. See you next week. Bye.